Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Where you are in our viewer realm, we probably have some early morning, Sunday morning. God, it doesn't feel like a Sunday to me today. I don't
Super
know why.
Bowl Sunday.
Yeah. Super Bowl Sunday. That's true. All right. Well, this morning I am here. My name's Sarah Forleo with the Whole Pet Grooming Academy, and I am here today with Malissa Conti Diener, and she teaches all of most of our holistic classes. But you've got 3 diploma programs, a bunch of seminars that go more in depth into other areas of the holistic realm,
Right.
and some intro classes that are 4 hours. So quite a few. I guess I really just kind of want to start and say, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this part of the holistic world for grooming.
Well, basically, I was kind of always a groomer because I grew up in a show cat and dog family, and so we always groomed and handled any of the animals that we were showing, and then my mom also rescued, so I kind of grew up around animals and grooming animals, but nobody ever told me it was like a viable career choice, really. And so I always did it as like a side hustle and did all these other things. And I was always interested in the more natural, holistic way of life. And so it was something that I was always drawn to. And when I had my middle daughter, she was hyper allergic to everything. And so I was already a massage therapist for humans, and I was already an aromatherapist for humans at that point. And so I really started to test the waters on things to help my child. And I also was doing cat rescue, dog rescue, working with animals, kind of as my side hustle. And so I was seeing more and more of these animals that had skin issues and neuromuscular problems. And I always did energy work. I always was interested in all those things. And I just started to combine the two, the stuff that I learned for humans, and then really started to search out what I could find for animals, which wasn't much at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was my basic journey was, okay, well, if there really isn't that much out there, then maybe I need to really start to do my own experiments and work with these, rescue pets and my own pets and see what works and what doesn't work and what results I would get. And I just started on my own path to try and just kind of come to that realization where, for me, I always wanted to consider the entire animal and not just the haircut.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got to the hashtag more than a haircut.
I was just about to say, which we've been using frequently, the more than a haircut hashtag, because that is your hashtag. So
and it's a
kind
big
of
part
branded
of
with the school for us because we're more than a haircut.
Well, because it just comes with that territory when you want to do more, you want to offer more and look at the animal as more than just doing a haircut.
Mm-hmm.
And that means you consider the whole entire animal. And that's what the term holistic means.
Mm-hmm.
It means whole, the wholeness of it. Right.
Yeah.
So
and we kind of get asked that a lot. And it's like, why do you call yourselves that? Because the big picture is taken into place. It's the experience from walking in the front door until they walk back out and drive out of the parking lot.
Absolutely.
The experience is what is the key point of holistic.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And I think that it's important that we say, from the minute they walk in the door, or the minute if you're in a mobile grooming van, or even if you're a home groom, like in-home grooming, house call, even veterinary office, all that stuff encompasses that whole experience, not only for the pet, but also for the people that you encounter, the pet owners. So
Yeah.
the more educated you are, the more you can educate the pet owner on those kind of things as well, because as we all know in this business, that most of the general public doesn't understand any of what we do, or a
No.
minute amount of what we do.
Yeah.
And so I as an educator, I find that it's part of our job also to educate the pet owner as
Right. Yeah.
much as we educate ourselves. So by doing these classes, by offering these kind of whether it's a 4-hour intro class, or whether it's a 1-hour seminar, or whether it's the full diploma program, it encompasses how to not only educate yourself to be a better groomer and make a better personal energetic connection with the animal, but also it always, at least what I offer, always touches on that business side of how do you connect with that customer? How do you find your niche? How do you find your demographic? How do you take what you learn and now turn it into, your profitable business model? So I try and touch on those things too, and give them kind of the wheels on that tricycle
Mhm.
to start going with these little small snippet classes, as well as the big whole ones.
Yeah. I kind of want to ask and get into the your feline. And there are other organizations, other places that are teaching feline classes. What makes yours different for your diploma program?
Even for my diploma program, or for the intro, if they just take the
Yeah.
4-hour intro, um the difference is, again, it is not aesthetically based. That is not the focus. The focus is not on the haircut. There are plenty of other wonderful programs out there that focus on that main aesthetic, the perfect lines and that kind of stuff. And it depends on what you want. You may have taken another program already and gotten, and finished that and have your certifications through them. And there are plenty of really good programs out there for those aesthetically based. Mine is based more on an energetic connection, about understanding skin and coat, more based on the science behind felines, with behavior, with understanding why cats do what they do.
Okay. I was just kind of going to go into that. You kind of go more in depth, a lot like Jennifer's classes, which go back into the history and get
Yes.
a little more in depth and more structured
Yeah,
in
it just
the
talks about the cat as an entity, you know what I mean? As a full thing, instead of just fur, that we're gonna just learn about the fur. I want them to have a good basic understanding of the skin and coat, which is something that is not really touched on very deeply in a lot of other programs. They give you basics. I want to take it a little bit further, so they have a better understanding. And some of the stuff that I teach is a
cats are
little
different.
yeah, is a little different, a little controversial, and sometimes different just needs to be said, and the people that want different will find different and look for different. And
I
it
think
isn't.
we're all really good at that at the school,
Yeah.
which is why
And
we started the Pet Pro Educators too, because we talk different. We
yeah,
don't
and
talk
that's
normal that's out there.
yeah, and there's nothing wrong with being different. It's just a different point of view. It isn't for everyone, and I understand that. And it's not that I don't I don't respect the other programs that are out there, because I do respect them and their work. And I find that there is a space for everyone to learn what they what they want,
Mhm.
and so that's what I'm offering. I talk a lot about making that energetic connection. I talk a lot about understanding why, uh, especially with felines, you don't want to push the stress issue.
Right. Yeah.
And understanding why they're so different, especially like me. I did cat rescue for a really long time, and I learned very quickly that it's a totally different species. So as a dog groomer coming into looking at feline grooming, you have to kind of shut your brain off as a dog groomer
Yeah.
and really kind of open up your brain to take in all the information, because cats are completely different.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
a whole set of criteria that they require that dogs don't require from
Yeah.
you.
So in
You know,
all of
because you've groomed cats, Dara.
I do.
So
I prefer grooming cats over
right. So you get
over
it.
dogs.
So
So
yeah.
yeah, you would think, maybe I should take your class because I do. I love the cats. So maybe I'm going to enroll in your class, and that should be. I got some others that are on my plate off to the side,
Yeah.
but yeah, when we get that next class going, we gotta we'll talk about that later. So, how about the aromatherapy? Because a lot of people ask about that and how that can. I do get a lot of questions, even from some of our graduates that go into other shops, and we don't really do the diffusers, but some of the other shops in areas where others do. Some of our students have come back and asked about that. What's okay, what's healthy, what's not healthy. Um,
Right.
so your aromatherapy is definitely a much larger course, I would say, because it's longer than the other programs that you have. So
It's a
what
lot of
should
information.
all right, because that's gonna take a certain type of person. So for those watching that are even looking our continuing education and groomers out there, what benefits will they get from this particular course or courses, the diploma?
The full diploma course is based on having the student obtain the knowledge to be able to, number one, understand the chemical constituencies of essential oils. Number two, uh, understanding the fact that they are medicinal and that they are so much more than just an air freshener or a nice smelly thing to add to a shampoo or whatever, that they actually have physical properties that affect the organisms and affect the cells and affect the overall health and well-being of the people using them, in close proximity to them, and the animals that we're using them with. So it is I want them to come away with a very healthy respect for essential oils, and know that it is very different than working with things like fragrance oils.
Okay.
And then, of course, the queen of DIY. So I make a lot of my own things, do a lot of my own bases, and then build on there with essential oils, and I go into some botanicals as well, so they understand how to work with botanicals and create their own the create their own products, but also how to enhance products that they're already working with, and understand products that say,
Mhm.
oh, this has lavender in it. Well, what kind of lavender? There's over 35 different types of lavender.
Okay. So yeah,
And
that's a not a pick up off the shelf and go.
yeah, exactly. So, you need to know, and there are a lot of synthetics out there. So the reason why there's so many hours in that course is because there's a lot of research that they have to do,
Yeah.
and be able to move through and work safely with animals,
Yeah.
and know that it is something that comes with continued practice. That's why I always say in your practice, because that's what we're doing. We're practicing something. And you may do this over and over and over again, and then you may have one pet that has a reaction to it, because
Mhm.
each one is different. So you need to know how to work safely and how to counteract reactions, and just have a healthy respect for the fact that these are medicinal plant oils, and it's far different than fragrance oils. And I also go into things like hydrosols and why I like hydrosols. I also talk about how they can create their own hydrosols. So I try and give them a really good, well-rounded basis to work from, and then all
Mhm.
the way up to a master status, which means that you have to know your stuff.
Yeah.
And by
So
master
how
status, they're up there.
they're up there. So that kind of leads into like, how did you go about learning all of this, and who has been your mentors or your inspiration for this?
Well, I started again with humans and doing this with humans. And then I started researching and trying to find veterinarians. There's a Dr. Melissa Shelton that has a company called Animal EOs, which is
Mhm.
Animal Essential Oils. And she has her own practice. I think it's in Minnesota or Michigan. I can't remember. It's an M state though. and
Nice.
yeah, I can't remember, but she was my first one that I really, really kind of connected with, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, there's an actual vet out there that does this." And then I also found Dr. Janet Rourke is another a holistic vet that is works specifically within aromatherapeutic methods. So she's another one that I really started to follow and take some classes with, as well as Dr. Shelton. Follow all her stuff, read her books, and from there, I just started to compile information and compile my information, the things that I tried, and what my trial and errors were, and I thought there's really nobody in our industry actually teaching this.
Right. Yeah.
There are plenty of companies out there that are pushing these products that have essential oils in them, but with no education behind it, we have no idea what they even do. Like you
Yeah.
can pick up shampoos constantly that say, oh, it has mint or juniper or lavender is a huge one, or chamomile. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, in what content is it in this product, and what is it in there to do, and where is it sourced? And so I teach them how to understand labels and all that kind of stuff, because those were the foundation things that I learned. Even for humans, I took classes through Aromahead University. I took classes at ASU here in Arizona. I even went to Tucson and took classes at NAU that were part of the naturopathic classes.
Okay.
I've taken it wherever I can find them, because they're far and few in between
Yeah.
for animals, especially.
For animals. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
And then I started out with Young Living Oils, which I'm no longer representative for their company, but that's the company that I started out with for oils, and they are a large MLM company, but one of the great things about them is that they have a lot of educational material. So when I was green and trying to find out about animals and that kind of stuff, they were one of the few companies that actually offered education in that. So at least it laid some groundwork and connected me with more holistic vets, that kind of stuff. So these things are now like in full blossom. but you know,
Or
15
full
years
lotus.
ago, yeah, there was really nothing. It was really hard to find anything on animal aromatherapy.
Mhm. It's interesting. It's so like, what would you advise for people who are looking at this? Again, I kind of had asked a little bit, what would this do for their business? What could this do for their business?
Well, always another facet of what they could add to their business as well.
Yeah,
I get asked a lot, how do you price this? Like,
yeah,
how do you advertise this? How do you price this? How do you I'm a fan of the all-inclusive pricing. I never
me too.
liked to be a used car salesperson,
Yeah,
and
no,
let's
I
upgrade
agree with
and
you on that.
yeah.
You and I know, I agree with that.
Yeah. So that was always my thing, is that it always just
Build it
enhanced the
in.
services that I already offered. So when I would put together my information for my customers, I would put in there that I am a certified holistic animal aromatherapist. That I utilize essential oils in all of my therapeutics, and that I work therapeutically, and these are how these are the reasons I work therapeutically, and listing that that whether it's aromatically, whether I'm just diffusing, whether I am creating some kind of a therapeutic skin treatment, and those are the things that I talk about within the course. How to go from just doing simple diffusion and blending and understanding those kind of aromatic ways to use essential oils, all the way down to creating therapeutics for skin issues or anxiety or emotional issues. Because again, I talk about things like frequency, and every oil has a vibrational frequency, so they match up. Obviously, like lavender, chamomile, all those calming frequencies, all those calming oils have calming frequencies. So like everything else with me, it's all connected. The energetics of it, the balancing of your energy mixed with the essential oils. So
Yeah,
it just creates a different practice for you, for your business. It just becomes, again, more than just the haircut. It is an entire experience.
yeah.
And
The difference between a pet grooming shop and a
yeah,
spa or a salon or
salon or spa kind of, or like what I like to say is I offer animal therapeutics. We work in the therapeutic end of grooming. Like if they took Michelle's course to for the skin and coat and aesthetic, uh that kind of stuff, or if they take Chrissy's course for the behavior and that kind of stuff. It is just another enhancement to show that as a pet groomer, you're looking far beyond just the aesthetic
yeah,
of the perfect haircut, because we consider the entire being of that animal.
yeah,
So it just makes for a whole different experience. And there are more, and like I said, this is really, I've been doing this for 20 years. And for 20 years, I've had people look at me sideways, and give me the
yeah.
side eye, like, you do
I
what?
was kind of going there because you and Latifa are really on that same level with the animal communication. And I don't think you've actually gotten to meet her. She hasn't been here when you've been up, I don't think.
No, no, I haven't met her face to face. Well, we have done this before. We've
Yeah.
talked on Zoom and stuff. So yeah. And
Yeah.
I
So
feel
I
like
asked,
that's a huge part of what we do. And I feel like that is such a big missing component to our industry, is that body, mind, spirit. That's what Latifa does. She
yeah,
connects you with that spirit to really delve deep into that. And I think that I walk along that line with what I teach. and I tell them to, make those kind of connections, Latifah just kicks those doors open.
She does.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might want to
and
jump into her two, because she's got the 2 classes for groomers that
right.
are 4-hour courses just to get that door
Yep.
cracked. To
And
help you crack that, and yeah.
I just told a girl about that had messaged me the other day on Instagram about Latifah's course, that she really was looking, she wanted more, and about that she had taken another class that I had done, and she was kind of, and that's what we usually see, is that once you take it, then you want more. Then you're like, I want to know more. How do I do this?
How do
Or
I do it?
especially when they do it, they take the class and then they apply their knowledge and they see the results, and they really start to understand. Then they're like, okay, I want, give me more. Who else, can give me more information? You get, I think it really opens up that.
Jennifer Valentino is in our chat. She's actually asking, who is Latifah?
Latifah Mina.
Yes, Latifah Mina. You can see an interview. I did interview her last week. You can see her interview. She is our online animal communications instructor. So check out that, but you can see all of her information on our website also. I was going back to that because we got a little sidetracked. So people looking sideways at you, I mean, that kind of, what challenges? I mean, now the doors are kind of opening.
Well, because people are, this is how I see the changes going. I have seen the change come from people asking, does my dog really have to stay in the shop for 8 hours?
Right.
That's usually the first indicator that they're looking for a different kind of service. Like, how long is, when they say, how long is it going to take? I don't want my pet to be there too long, or how long are you going to take if they're in the house, or, whatever the situation is. That's usually number one, that they want that length of time cut back. They don't want to have to leave them all day or have to subject the pet to that all day. So, most of the time, those are the people that have had some kind of issue with grooming to begin with, where their pet either was injured or had a bad experience or whatever it was. Now they're searching for an alternative. And then you also see people who would now have changed up their human diet and changed up their human lifestyle. And so they're also changing up their pet's lifestyle and diet. And so they're looking at quality of life for their pet, because that's their focus. They're focused on their quality of life. They're trying to live a more stress-free life, better diet, exercise, and they're wanting to live a more holistic lifestyle. So now they want that for their animal as well.
Right. Yeah.
So you're going to be offering these things also. It has to come down to quality over quantity. And I think that that's what a lot of the customers are looking for. So the side eye is kind of going away, because people are starting to really look for those things. And that really opened the door when we started doing things like in-home grooming. I've done house call grooming. Mobile grooming came about. People want the convenience, but they also want knowledge. They want somebody who knows their stuff and that they feel it can be trustworthy, because especially now, dogs and cats and rabbits. I mean, talk to Angie Coates. She is amazing with the small mammals. And it's like understanding that these humans have made these animals an extension of their life, not something that's just kept in the yard anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a deep personal connection there. And so they're looking for something different. So that's why when I say, the side eye is not what it used to be, because now when you tell people, about animal communication, or you talk about aromatherapy, or talk about massage, which everybody goes crazy for, is because they've already started either on their own looking at these things. And I'm talking about the pet owner. So when you, as the pet groomer, say, I offer, these compassionate touch point therapies during the grooming session, or I offer full on massage or energy work or any of these things, that customer already has like a basal understanding of the benefits of those things. So for them, that's another eye opener. And they're like, oh, this is totally the person I need to, take my pet to. Yeah. So the times are changing. Whereas, 20 years ago, when I said I used to do massage, the only dogs I ever got were the ones that used to work the circuit for, fly ball and rally and obedience and, the athletic dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
Well, it's still like that. I mean, we're finding with the horses,
yeah,
the horses get massaged and acupuncture, and they get the laser treatments, and they get the magna waves, and
yes, and all that stuff. So I mean, these things are now coming into being the norm for, dogs, cats, rabbits. One of the girls I work with, her ferret has a bad back, and it gets the laser treatments.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these are all things that are just coming to be a part of regular veterinary care now. We see a lot more of that. So, we see a lot of veterinarians advertising themselves as integrative. And that's what I call myself. I'm an integrative groomer.
That's a really good, I'm going to write that word down, because that's a really good word.
Yeah, it just means that we're integrating Western and Eastern philosophies together to kind of have the best of both worlds, the best of both thought processes. I always call us professional pet service providers, or health pet service providers, because we are the first line of defense. We see these animals far more than the veterinarians ever do. And so our hands are on them constantly. We can't diagnose anything, but I know if I am working on a dog and I'm doing some acupoints on them and they have pain or discomfort, that I can let mom and dad know, hey, I can say I see pain or discomfort. You need to, look into this further. We know when we see skin and coat issues, we may not know the root cause, but we know that there's something amiss. And that's the same thing with the aromatherapy when we're working with them. And if they are, having issues with allergies and that kind of stuff, or if they're having emotional issues, which I always say emotions are energy in motion. So if their energetic flow is blocked, a lot of times you can unblock them using essential oils, just aromatherapeutically or topically even.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different ways that that these things can continuously enhance your business, but also enhance your connection to these animals and become an integral part of their overall good health and well-being. And that's what my bottom line always is. I'd rather see them go out with a little bit of a crooked haircut, but feeling great and, you know what I mean? And looking
not stressed.
Right. And looking like, they weren't made to, sit in a cage for 4 hours or stand on the table for 4 hours. And no, they walk out and they're happy, and the owner is happy because they're happy, they're clean, they smell good, and their spirit is refreshed.
Yeah.
That makes a difference. Think about when you walk out of a spa. You feel good. And that's how they should feel. They shouldn't be sore from standing or be, stretched and twisted
Felt.
like a pretzel. Yes, the whole time. And it should be more. And bravo to those groomers that, do those amazing haircuts and hand scissored everything. And I've been there and I've done that, and I have the crooked fingers to show for it.
True.
But I've kind of evolved my way of thinking. And I know that the customers that I work with, I do more comfort groom than I do,
Yeah.
for aesthetic. And I
Yeah.
work with a lot of special needs or dogs that are just starting, to get groomed, whether they came from a rescue or it's a puppy or whatever. So it's
We
just a
all
different
kind of find our path too and our niche where we fit
yeah,
into the overall
absolutely.
general grooming
And there's
industry.
lots of different roads and there's lots of different paths. So when you
Yeah.
take these courses, there's a lot of different ways you can apply them, which is nice because
Yeah.
it will set you apart from other groomers, and it will set you apart from, those different niche shops and providers out there. So it gives you a leg up in the industry to attract those that you are looking for.
Yeah.
Because a
You were
lot of
talking
them get
about
lost.
being a pet care or a pet service provider. That would really be a good title for our Master of Holistic Arts diploma.
Yeah. A holistic pet service provider. I mean, it really is what we do. I mean, you assess that animal when as a groomer. The first thing we do, or at least the first thing we should do, is
Yeah.
do an assessment on that pet, from nose to tail, to take a look at everything, look at the teeth, because if their dental is, they have a issue in their mouth, we're going to have a hard time working with face, ears, head, that kind of stuff. If they
Mm-hmm.
have terrible skin issues, we're going to have a hard time working with them because they're in discomfort.
Yeah.
So my overall look is I go over that dog, and my first line of defense is to ease discomfort, is to be, and I always say I'm a compassionate groomer because I want to ease suffering, whether the suffering is that they're just itchy or
Mm-hmm.
the suffering is that they, are scared to death to be with the groomer. So I'm going to do all I can to ease that and to do a comfort groom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That matters more to me than that their legs are perfectly straight or their beard is perfect, or
Yeah.
they're going to go home and snuggle up in their bed and roll around in their yard and be a
Dog
dog.
they want to be. Yeah.
Yep. And I
Yep.
want them to be the dog that they want to be. And so that's where my first priority lies. And those
Mm-hmm.
groomers that want those kind of things for the pets they groom are the ones that seek out those kind of classes, that,
Yeah.
the type that I teach, any of the classes that we teach at the Whole
I
Pet
was going to
Grooming
say,
Academy.
any of our class, we're different.
Yeah, it is
We're
very,
different.
very different. And I get asked that all the time. Why, I can go here and take this or that, but you're not going to get what you're going to get here. We're so far removed from the aesthetics of it that it is there is enough great programs out there that will teach you to groom beautifully.
Yeah.
I think what we do is we teach you to groom beautifully, but with a different a different
Different mind frame.
mind frame. Yes,
Yeah.
mindset.
Different
It
mind.
just is. It's different. It's beautiful, but it's in a different way.
Yeah. Yep. That is true. So where do you see yourself going with this?
This has been this has kind of been my thing, my shtick forever.
Yeah.
And I don't see it changing. I really don't. I see it evolving. But there's a country song that if I wasn't doing this, I'd be doing this. To quote that song. There's nothing else I'd rather do. There's nothing else I would ever want to do. Give me, give me the space to teach and I'll teach. You
Mhm.
know, it doesn't matter. I drive right now. I'm working for a local company, and I literally drive 100 miles a day, 50 miles up, 50 miles back to work with groomers. And they allow me to teach the way I teach, what I teach holistically. And so it's the same thing with the whole Pet Grooming Academy. I would always want to be connected in this group of teachers, this group of educators, because everybody here is so passionate about it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that it's, out of New Hampshire and I'm in Arizona. It doesn't matter if you want to take the courses and you're in, another state. You don't have to worry about that, because through the power of the internet,
You can do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can connect. And you
Yeah.
don't have to take, the other beautiful thing is that you don't have to take them all at the same time.
No.
You can break them all down, take one at a time,
Yeah.
work up to everything. So, I mean, I see myself doing this until I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Well, and that's why we have the intro classes too, so that people can get their feet wet to make sure
Exactly.
before going into a larger diploma program that you actually want to specialize in one of those areas.
Sure,
So,
take 4 hours and get the intro, and
yep,
take some of the 1-hour seminars,
seminars. Yeah. Yeah.
get your feet
Yep.
wet, figure out what is really sparks your passion, your interest, because a lot of people have a lot of interest in a lot of different things, but until you actually start to take your classes, get those little snippets and then be like, okay, I know I want to focus on massage, or I want to focus on aromatherapy, or I want to focus on felines, or I want to
You
do
gotta have
feline.
a focus.
Yep,
You do
and
have to
that's
have a focus. I mean, and with you, your focus being a larger picture with a lot more concentrations, but you didn't get here in a year. This
oh
has been
god, no.
a lifetime of
Oh,
study.
absolutely. And it's
So you
constantly
can't.
changing and learning, and I never stop learning.
Yeah.
So I'm
No. Oh,
consistently
yeah. We do. We have a really good group. I mean, this is why I wanted to showcase you guys so that you could really talk about what you do and what you do best, because we all have our jam.
yeah. And I think that the most wonderful thing is that this is it's a labor of love. It's a passion for all of us that teach.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We do.
like
All
I
love too.
said, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be doing this,
Yeah.
because it's just who I am. And I
Yeah.
find the same thing with Jennifer, with Chrissy, with Latifa, with Michelle,
Michelle. Yeah.
um, everybody that is in with the school, it is more than their job. It's their life. It is their passion. It is something that they don't care if they had to sit at the bus stop, they would start talking about it to, to
Yeah.
strangers.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are those weirdos that that just don't ever separate that. People ask me all the time, well, who would you be if you weren't a groomer? And I'm like, well, first of all, I don't know, because I was told that I couldn't groom anymore. And so I I still
You
couldn't
found the
leave the
net.
industry.
Mm-hmm.
I still
You
groom. I
just
just had
created.
to scale everything back
Yep.
and change my point of view on, what constitutes grooming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I think that the biggest thing I want everybody to really realize is that you don't have to take the whole enchilada at once. I
Yeah.
get asked that all the time. You could take the courses one by one and pick and choose what you want. Isn't the Master of Holistic Arts like a bunch of the different ones that you can choose from?
That we have two women enrolled and going through that diploma right now.
Right.
I can't even. I think I talk about this one. This is my favorite. It is. It's beautiful. It is, I think Michelle would say the exact same thing. It is just such a pretty diploma. Aromatherapy, massage, feline, canine science, pet cosmetology, product sanitation, first aid and CPR, um, behavior. It's got the first two levels of practically every single one of our diplomas. If you want that concentration of a little bit of everything, it is 55 hours of everything.
Yeah. I
Rolled
mean,
into
that's the most
one
amazing.
capsule. It
And there's
is
nobody
gorgeous.
else that offers it. There is
No,
nowhere else you could ever
no.
even remotely get anything like this.
Mm-mm.
So that is like,
Nope.
to
It's that.
me,
It's yeah. It's great. I mean, it's you, and then from there, in some of them, you can add one or two more courses, and you've got another diploma on top of it. So
right.
you could diploma multiple times with just adding it. It's such a nice course, and you, as long as you're already a groomer or working towards it, any of our students have the option to add and do this. It's yeah. If I were still on the floor, I would do it myself. But
Yeah.
somebody's got to be behind the scenes
True,
keeping the ball going. So I'll sit
true.
behind here, the curtain, and I'll keep doing this.
Right. No,
But
it's different when you learn from people that this is their life. This is their passion. You know, when you have people instructing you that live this, that
yeah,
day in and day out, this is our life. This is what
yeah.
we do. We, even in our downtime, this is who we are.
You're
So
absolutely right. Even in our downtime, we are all still plugging forward on bringing new
yeah.
content, on updating, on just, yeah. Yep.
So
It's
it
great.
is something that that's why these courses will, um the information may be in small segments so that you can take them a little bit at a time, but
Mm-hmm.
it's always also updated and changed, as new things come in, and as we learn more, we're going to continue, if uh as we learn more, we're going to continue to update you on those things. So
Yeah.
we as educators keep our fingers on that pulse and look for the new science and the new information, and we want to keep you updated. So by by taking these courses and plugging into the Whole Pet Grooming Academy, and then doing things like watching the Pet Pro educators, which I have sadly been remiss. My job, the timing just isn't working for me right now. I'm hoping that I can jump back in with the ladies. I miss it. But
No, yeah. We miss
we
you
offer
too.
so we offer so much more. We really do. I think that there's so many more branches to us as an academy that connect you, like with the Pet Pro educators, with the Master Grooming Council, with all
Council,
these different things going on that we're all
yeah.
involved in, that this is just so much more than just taking an online course.
Yeah. And we'll be able to talk more about the Master Groomer Council because we are going to be having our meeting coming up
Yeah.
next month. But Michelle is on later this month on Sunday, the 27th, actually. And I'm sure she will want to tell you and dive into that a little bit more. So, well, I have taken up a lot of your time today. So thank you for going above and beyond as
No
usual.
problem. No
And
problem.
so
Ask me to talk about holistic grooming. You can't shut me up. You know
I
that.
know. Well, for anyone out there wanting, please reach out to us. If you have any questions, Melissa's available. You've got our contact information. Reach out. We are taking enrollment for courses, so
Yep.
all online, self guided, self paced, or virtual classrooms. We do have a lot of virtual classrooms. That seems to
Yeah,
be the way
I'm
we're
doing
kind of
virtual. Yeah.
transitioning to, is a virtual classroom, which has been people love it. This week, coming up next on the 15th, I believe that's on Wednesday, I am going to be talking with Angie Coates. So if you
Yay!
don't know Angie, you're going to soon. But I think a lot of people out there know Angie. So, all right. Well, we'll wrap this up. Thank you so much. And everyone, have a great day. Have a great week and happy grooming.
Yeah, happy grooming, happy Valentine's Day, happy Super
Happy
Bowl
Valentine's
day.
Day, whatever it is. Have a
Yep,
good
happy
one.
Sunday. Take care.